Cameron, leaving Sirius XM, just got done with the Max B interview. Max B had the NY streets flooded. Jimmy acting like he can't see the water rise.
Me and these niggas go back like 40 years. When you hear that, you definitely come home with them, because I'm going to keep it 100. Yo, Kill, I got to talk to the governor in Jersey.
Yeah,
Yo,
mayor.
once I speak to the mayor in East Brunswick, I'm coming up. Like I said, you gotta switch the mindset.
Max B coming home. Where we at? Are we able to get past that?
No. Max B stepped out those prison gates and the whole city felt the shift instantly, but Jim Jones couldn't hide the salt for even a second. He hopped online calling the celebration stupid and trying to paint Max B as some kind of failure, which is wild because wasn't Jim the same one cheering when Mel came home? The energy switch is loud and everybody caught it, but that's exactly where things start getting even crazier. Max B just sat down with Cameron and Maze, and Cam straight up said Jim is still scared of Max after all these years. I want you to pass it at some point. You want me to crash out? I don't want you to crash out because I'm not trying to crash out either. That's the moment everything twisted, and now we got to break down what really went down, why Jim is reacting like this, and why Max B touching freedom again is shaking his whole foundation. Cindy and Minnie, I wasn't sure cause I was too tipsy up the river playing big into me. __ was the AC machine had a little my nib on the little nipples. Max B, Max Bigavelli, is one of those artists where the deeper you look, the more you realize he helped build a whole era of New York rap without ever getting the shine he deserved. His government name is Charlie Wingate, born and raised in Harlem, and he came up in the early to mid-2000s as part of Jim Jones's Bird Gang crew. But here's the kicker, Max was never just another rapper in the squad, not even close. He had that loose, melodic sing-rap flavor nobody was doing back then, carrying a wavy aura that was way ahead of its time, that half-sung, half-floating New York sound A$AP Rocky later made mainstream. Max was laying that blueprint long before it became fashionable, and even people who didn't rock with him had to admit he brought something totally new to the city. Max was dropping tapes like crazy, $1 Million Baby, the Public Domain series, Coke Way with French Montana, and every single one turned into a cult classic, even without a mainstream push.
I ain't gonna lie, Max B really inspired my whole rapping career too. I feel like not rapping career, but you see the way I'm making melodies.
Yeah.
He was a big part of that because before I started rapping, I was singing Max B all the time.
He was a rapper other rappers were secretly studying, the blueprint they didn't want to admit they were borrowing from. But in 2006, right when the momentum finally felt unstoppable, everything flipped on its head. Max got pulled into a robbery situation that rerouted his entire life, and here's exactly how that night went down. On September 22nd, 2006, Max's BS ex-girlfriend, Gina Conway, told him about a guy she'd just met, Alan J. Ploden, who was flashing serious money around. Instead of brushing it off and staying focused, Max decided this would be the next move. He sent his stepbrother, Kelvin Lowe, to handle the robbery and told Gina to ride along. They pulled up to Ploden's room at a Holiday Inn in Fort Lee ready to get to that bag. Gina knocked. Another woman named Giselle Neve opened the door, and the minute she said Ploden was asleep, Kelvin pulled out the gun. He held Giselle at gunpoint while Gina duct-taped her, and the whole spot turned chaotic instantly. They started ripping the room apart looking for the bag, tossing everything, but nothing showed up, so they woke Ploden, taped him to, and started pressing him for the money. He kept saying there was nothing there, so Kelvin forced him to call his partner, David Taylor, and tell him to bring the cash. But when Taylor walked in, he immediately started fighting with Kelvin. Things exploded, and the gun went off. Taylor was fatally shot right there. After everything spiraled, Gina grabbed Giselle's purse and took the $800 out of Taylor's pockets, while Kelvin snatched his watch, and this is what they threw their whole futures away for: gas money and a couple accessories, which makes the whole thing even more tragic. Once they dipped, Ploden told the hotel staff what happened, and when police rushed the room, they caught him trying to hide $30,000, literally getting hit with his own charges because he was still shuffling the cash around. A few days later, Gina got picked up and immediately told detectives everything about Max, Kelvin, the plan, every detail. And soon after, Max and Kelvin were arrested, with Max getting slammed with a $2 million bail. By 2009, Gina had already taken a plea deal on manslaughter and armed robbery, agreeing to testify while facing up to 18 years. When Max and Kelvin's trial kicked off in May 2009,
Let his kids go. Where's daughter?
the whole thing moved fast, and by June 9, 2009, both were convicted on 9 out of 11 charges, including felony murder. Max got smacked with a 75-year sentence, and Kelvin was hit even harder with life plus 35 years. The very next day, Gina, the same one who flipped, was sentenced to 15 years. Max tried fighting the case, but when he appealed in August 2012, it got rejected, officially locking in that brutal 75-year bid. But in 2016, everything twisted again when Max B.'s conviction got tossed because it came out his original lawyer had a major conflict of interest. I would never work for that cornball ass again. Me? I'm a boss. I'm not with that. I look like a boss, feel like a boss, taste like a boss. Max Bigavelli out of here, man. So, Jim Jones? Compare the names. Max Bigger, Jim Jones. That don't even add up. They're not on my level. His sentence dropped to 20 years after he pleaded guilty to aggravated manslaughter, completely changing the course of his future. Jumped to November, and Max finally touched freedom after nearly 16 years behind bars. Friends and family pulled up heavy to welcome him home, including longtime collaborator French Montana, who posted a video greeting Max outside the gates with a caption, "Can't make this up. My brother really came home on my birthday. Ha! No more free you." It hit the internet like a bomb. And now we slide straight into the messy part, the tension between Max B and Jim Jones. I'm gonna keep it tall. That's kinda how I missed out on Max B. I'm just being straight up. Jim ended up signing him because he saw something, but he wasn't the only one who knew Max's potential. Cameron grew up with him, Charlie Rambo, joking all day, never taking anything serious. So when Max came home and said he wanted to rap, Cam literally told him, "Charles, stop playing." His exact words were, "Killer, now, let's get this clicking like Dorothy's heels." Max wasn't even Max B yet. He was still Charlie Rambo. Fresh out of jail, pulling up on Cam word for word like, "Flea, I just came out." And when Cam joked back, Max hit him with, "Flea, I know how to rap now. Let's get this planted like Dorothy's heels." When Max locked in with Bird Gang and Dipset, he wasn't just tagging along. He was doing real heavy lifting, writing hooks, helping craft verses, and some people even say he played a part in major records like We Fly High. But as Cam explained, Max's rise brought tension too. "You don't know the slander I get, Cam. How you let it go this way? I ain't see it. Dude was in and out of jail all the time. I didn't know what was gonna happen. People be ready to take my head off about this. You ain't a prophet. They want you to be a prophet," Mays said. And Cam agreed. He didn't see the vision at first because Max was his guy, too close to him, and he treated him like family, not like the next wave. "You still got me, though," Max told him. And Cam said it straight. "You did everything in your, look, go see, bro. But listen, we Boomerang. We here now. We ain't even gonna get into all that. No, I'm just saying," Cam told him. "Like that's how it was. Even you acknowledge like, damn, I got Jeja. I got this. I got Rel. I got..." And Max cut him off like, "Nah, boom." But here's where the drama kicks in. According to Max, he never got proper credit or fair money for any of the work he put in. He said he was being used. He'd do the heavy lifting, help create the sound, and Jim would stack all the checks while Max walk away with almost nothing. We're talking shows where Jones was making real money and Max was getting paid a couple $100, barely anything for the weight he carried. Max B coming home. Where we at with that? Can you get past it? No. Can we get past it now? You want to get past it or you want to dive deeper? You want me to tweak? I want you to pass it at some point. You want me to crash out? I definitely don't want you to crash out because I don't want to crash out. That's not what I want for myself. I want for my brother. I appreciate it. And Max said it clearly. There's too much money out here, too much life out here, and I like doing the things I like to do. Ain't nothing feel better than living right now. But see, this whole situation was never just about money. It was about respect. Max said Jim never treated him like an equal despite him carrying a huge part of the creative weight behind the scenes. That disrespect kept building, and eventually Max walked away from Bird Gang for good. After leaving, he linked up with French Montana, and they started dropping music that openly pushed back at Jim Jones, showing people who really built those hits. They didn't hide anything. They put it all out there loud and unfiltered. Jim, on the other hand, claimed he never tried to mess up Max's money and only did what he learned from his own mentors. But here's what Jim didn't mention. He never gave Max his publishing back willingly. Max had to sue him, and the court forced Jim to return it. That part alone says a lot. Cameron even spoke on it, and he always stood with Maximum. Cam said Jim has a pattern of trying to control people and taking credit for things he didn't fully create. Cam actually planned to sign Max before Bird Gang, but he admitted he didn't catch the vision early enough, and Jim swooped in first. That changed everything. Even after all the drama, Max and Cam stayed cool, and when Max came home, he sat down with Cam and Maze. The wild part? They didn't mention Jim once. They kept it locked on Harlem stories, Max's time inside, and his plans for the future. But even with Max coming home to love and support, Jim Jones still couldn't keep his cool. Instead of showing growth or welcoming the moment, he hopped online throwing shade, calling the celebration pointless, and trying to clown Max like he wasn't a major piece of Dipset's legacy. That reaction told the whole story without Jim even realizing it. Because let's be real, Max stepping back into the world brings up every conversation Jim never wanted to have in public. Who really wrote what? Who carried the sound? Who built the wave? All of that comes rushing back the second Max touches a light again, and Jim knows it. That's why his energy been shaky since day one. Meanwhile, Max sat with Cameron Mays and didn't even bring Jim up. No doubt, no mess, no shots. He talked about life, growth, and his future. And that silence hit harder than any diss could, because it proves Max isn't stuck in the past, while Jim clearly can't stop reacting to it. Fans caught the difference immediately. People started reposting old interviews, old credits, old behind-the-scenes stories, and suddenly the whole internet remembered how much Max truly contributed to the sound Jim built his whole image on. And that's where the real unease kicks in, because a free Max means those conversations won't die out this time. Max is moving forward, leveling up, living again, while Jim looks like he's stuck in the same cycle he created. Same old cycle. And then Cameron dropped the line that had the entire internet losing its mind. He claimed Jim is still scared of Max B after all these years. He didn't say it jokingly. He said it straight, and the second he did, the clips started flying everywhere. Fans pulled up old interviews where Jim dodged questions about Max or brushed his name off like it bothered him way more than he ever admitted. Cam didn't need to break it down. The history already speaks for itself. Back when Max started catching real momentum, Jim wasn't ready for somebody in his own camp to glow that bright. And now that Max is free again, all that old pressure snaps right back, because Max isn't the same man who went in. He's calmer, sharper, more focused, and you can hear the confidence in every word he says. Meanwhile, Jim keeps trying to downplay the whole situation like he's above it, but people can see right through that. The timing of his comments, the tone, the little slick shots, it all feels like somebody trying to defend position he doesn't even feel secure in anymore. Max being home forces the truth back into the spotlight. Who really created what? Who deserved the credit? Who was being held back? And when someone like Cameron, someone who was right in the middle of everything, says Jim being nervous around Max's name for years, that hits different. Max isn't out here pushing drama, but his presence alone shakes the room every time he steps in. And while Max ain't even thinking about Jim right now, it's clear Jim is still holding something heavy. When Mays asked him in a recent interview if he could finally let the past go, Jim said no instantly, no explanation, no details, nothing. You could see it hit a nerve immediately. Now the comments are split like crazy. Some people said, Jim still got PTSD from Max running around on World Star back in the day, clowning him 24/7 and bringing up that hotel situation again. The internet never forgets. But other people had a softer angle and wrote, Jim only said that because Max ain't in front of him. If they sat face to face, there's no way they couldn't heal. The love is still there. Jim's hurt. Jim feels hurt by Cam too. And Jim got to realize he hurt Max as well. That's why he reacted like that. I think they can move forward. And that one comment had folks debating all night. So what's your view on it? Can they really move past all this, or is the history way too deep for things to ever look like they did before Max got locked? This situation runs deep, way deeper than most fans ever realized. And before you dip, make sure you subscribe to Drip Z, drop a comment, like the video, and share it if you rock with the content. And if you really enjoyed it, hit that hype this video button. It's free and it helps the channel grow big time. Thank you.